Down Legacy Wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my very first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting things started. How you doing today? We've got a lot going on in the world and in our city. And that's what we're here for, to unpack it, to have some fellowship, to have some conversation that can elevate our, elevate where we are with it, right? Know what's happening, not be freaked out, and be fortified. We need to stay fortified. It is the actual birthday today of Marvin Gaye. So happy birthday to the great one. And yeah, so the way we do the show on Wednesdays, typically, hour one, we look local, what's going around on the left coast side of town. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive. Education is in the spotlight all day today. And of course, it's a Wealth Building Wednesday. So we'll hear from a Black-owned BIPOC, socially innovative, or local small business. So that happens top of the second hour. In the bottom of the hour, the third hour, we'll hear from former school superintendent Austin Butner and find out why he is suing LAUSD. And then we'll hear from education advocate Natasha Diamond Walker. Yep, it's a full day today, and I'm always glad when that's the case. Of course, you're invited in every hour at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. If you got something to say, you want to weigh in, or you have the need for some fellowship, we are here all the time. Starting off our conversation today on the left coast side of town, a man who was born and raised in L.A., he says his family upbringing was grounded in respect and understanding of the culture and history of African and Black people worldwide. He worked in education and community organizing for over a decade, and he is currently the director of training at the Community Coalition, where he's been a core leader in local fights for educational justice for quite some time. And welcome back, Christian Flagg.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a little while since I've been up before the sun came up to
Yeah,
do
well,
this work.
welcome
But
to our live, our
yes,
life.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of transition going on in the country, but also right here, I think, locally, whether it's city or county. And for me, one of the big victories, I guess I could say, of since 2020 has been the students' work around getting cops off their campuses, getting resources onto the campuses through the Black Student Achievement Program, and really defining their own idea of what school safety looks like, getting rid of those supposedly random searches, which turn out not to be random at all.
Right.
But if I'm not tracking it as closely as I could be, maybe, but it seems like a lot of those things have been rolled back, pushed back, or attacked.
Definitely been under attack. But just as you said, the young people, the students, the parents, families, we've been standing strong. Community been fighting, holding the ground to really preserve, but beyond that, even continue to expand what was won. So for a little background, right, we back in 2020, right, while actually Austin Butner was still the superintendent, in the wake of the murder of our brother George Floyd, community stood up and said, you know what, enough is enough. We gotta dismantle this school to prison pipeline in our schools, right, where we're supposed to be nurturing our babies, raising up the next generation of leaders. We gotta stop treating them like criminals, right? So we were able to pull funding away from the police department and actually direct it toward the resources and build out, as you said, this powerful comprehensive set of resources. But as it's been established, folks are attacking it, saying that it's discriminatory. It doesn't actually serve the students of LAUSD as a whole. But this comes from, a small faction conservative group actually that was outside of the state of California, right?
Yeah.
No connection to the community. And they've tried to really pull and push the district actually to pull the Black student population as a criteria to help direct and target the resources, right? So we were always dealing with a small kind of finite amount of resources, dollars, I should say, to fund the psychiatric social workers, the mental health professionals, right? The academic counselors, the teacher training to upgrade the curriculum and make it more culturally responsive. So we came up with a strategy to say we have to really ensure that these resources is going to the schools and the students where we've seen the most harm for our Black students and families. And we paired that with high need indicators where we saw chronic absenteeism, the lower test scores. We've seen the disproportionate suspension rates and the higher numbers of Black students. But yeah, they came at it and said, oh, we can't use this Black student population thing, right? It's a quota system. It's this and that. But we said, no, actually, it's repair. It's repair for actual harm that the district allowed, and sometimes the district facilitated, right? So you have a duty and obligation as a public institution to redress that harm. So we've been standing firm, pushing back, saying, no, we actually have to make sure this is targeted. And like I said, actually, you need to invest more money to expand that funding to more of the Black students across LAUSD.
So for people that don't remember or weren't paying attention, the Black Student Achievement Program came when the money for the school police was actually defunded, refunded, repurposed, whatever you want to call it, right?
That's right, yeah.
And then the Black Student Achievement Program was redirecting those dollars to improve outcomes for Black students, i.e.
right.
more counselors, all the things you've just pointed out. And then apparently a group from, I don't know where, Virginia or something.
that's based.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
they threatened to sue. They didn't even sue, right? They threatened to sue, or
well,
did
they
they
filed a
actually
complaint with the Federal Department of Office of Civil Rights. So the Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights,
which doesn't exist anymore, right?
Which is being dismantled as we speak.
So, but the threat of that was enough to make the district say, "We're going to all lives matter this black program."
Right. And that's the unfortunate thing where, of course, we saw it as something where the district as a whole was very reluctant to do it in the first place, right? This has been now a 5 years battle to really implement this specific thing, but this builds on a long history of folks trying to push the district to do more for black students, to actually meet the unique needs. As we've seen, the student outcomes for our black students as a whole has been at or among the bottom for decades, right? And we know there's amazing and powerful examples. I work with young people every day, brilliant young people, right? But as a group, our students hasn't been excelling at the levels we know they could. But yeah, they took it as an opportunity to say, okay, we can't do this thing. See, we tried. We got to kind of do it another way. And we say, no, actually, especially in this moment, it's time to double down, right? You really need to lean in when you're getting to a point where you're making progress. You are actually helping to direct the institution, which is a big entity, especially when we're talking about LAUSD. Some of the academic research or really just institutional transformation research says it takes 3 to 5 years just to get an institution that big to kind of going and adopting and implementing something so different, right? Something so transformative. So we're like, actually, we're just now getting started, right? We're just now getting started in reaching the potential of what BSAP can do for LAUSD, for black students and families.
Yeah. Well, the conversations I've had with black students who have benefited from it show that at least on the micro level, it was making a difference. When we continue this conversation, I want to talk about what is cop-free LAUSD, what are the goals now, and what does the environment that we're currently in with a new DA, new president, and this sort of fear-based response last November during the elections with Prop 36 and stuff. What does that do? What does it mean for that organizing? We'll look at that and more when we continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden-Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting, on Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominique DiPrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden-Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. This is a community call to action brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-246-1923. That's 800-246-1923. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-246-1923 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're with Christian Flagg. He's in studio. You're invited in at 800-920-1580 or on any of our social media, which is KBLA 1580 on every platform, including YouTube, where we are currently streaming live. We do that actually every weekday morning. You can find me everywhere at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. Christian, do you do stuff on social media?
Yeah, actually.
I know Cocoa South LA is the community
Cocoa
coalition.
South LA. My own web social media on Instagram is Christian Flagg _ with the people. And I want to shout out Students Deserve. They have a really active social media Instagram about this, particularly about our Police Free coalition.
I think it's at LA Students Deserve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, I didn't mean to step over Coco. Do you want to talk about your work there?
I'll just say that, I've been at Community Coalition for now 5 years. The organization has been doing a lot of powerful work empowering the community for now over 30 years with a mission and vision to really help to transform the social and economic conditions in our community that foster drug addiction, right, violence, poverty, but doing that through a community institution that's meant to actually influence and change public policy, right? But by, again, empowering community to bring folks in, help them to understand the process, help them to actually define the solutions that they want to see in the community, and then push for it, fight for it, right?
Yeah, I've been, I was on the board many years ago and for a long time, but that was the first kind of place that I really saw in LA when I first arrived here, and it was because of the young people. I saw the young organizers from South Central, Youth Empowered Through Action, and I was like, okay.
That's right.
They got it going on. And there's a lot of organizing that those young people do on high school campuses, which leads me to the Police Free LAUSD. Explain what that is.
Yeah, so Police Free LAUSD is a coalition of several different organizations, many different organizations, grassroots folks that do community organizing, legal advocacy groups like the Collective for Liberatory Lawyering, ACLU SoCal has been throwing down with us for years. You have folks like the Labor Community Strategy Center, and even our brothers and sisters in East LA, inner city struggle, Latinx brothers and sisters been holding it down in solidarity. But really it came together back in 2020, where we said the community took a stand and said enough is enough. We got to get these police out of our schools. And we've been pushing ever since then to really not only to abolish the system of policing, but the culture of policing in our schools, to say schools must be a place of empowerment, nurturing, caring, where we're looking at the whole child and the whole families. So, yeah.
You're a dad.
Absolutely. 5 beautiful children with my wife of now, 15 years.
Wow.
Junior high school sweetheart from Audubon, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, and you got 5 of them, so you
Yes.
obviously have a vested interest in the schools.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you say to, I have a friend, a progressive, very progressive person, who's also a dad, and tells me kids are safer with cops on campuses?
I would ask him, if your child is having a mental breakdown, who are you gonna call, right? If your child is frustrated because they're dealing with a bully at school, right? Who do you want to call? If your child is struggling in the classroom because they don't understand, what the teacher is talking about that day, and now they're kind of feeling a little self-conscious, they're getting antsy, and now they're acting out in the classroom, who do you want to call, right? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is not a police officer, right? That father in that moment won't respond with, we call the police, right? So our minds, we're often preset to this notion of police equals safety. But what we've seen in many communities, what is the most safe communities are communities filled with resources, communities where there's the needs of the people are met. So police don't equal safety. Police is a reactive thing that comes after the fact, right? And then even beyond that, because we know there are emergencies, there are, we have community violence in our community. Even with that, we say, well, what does police do? They actually come in and add violence to the situation, right? So we often assert that, no, it is actually specially trained folks from the community that are trained in skills like de-escalation, conflict resolution, to not only intervene in a incident, a moment, but actually work to teach our young people what does it mean to actually be in community, share space, and understand that, hey, you've harmed somebody that is your brother, that is your cousin, that is yourself, right? But it is that growth and development that we know our young people need, right? Not this hammer to smash and cage and lock down young people, use chemical warfare where they're being pepper sprayed, by the tens or the hundreds when there's a fight between 2 students, right? So we say, no, police is not going to be the ideal response in the moment or in the long term.
And for you as a father of 5, you don't think, oh, well, I need police to rescue my children if something scary happens on campus?
No, we say we can train up a host of other different people that have skill sets to intervene, to save. And we've seen time and time again, the unfortunate incident in Uvalde. I forget the name,
Uvalde,
but
yeah.
where they didn't help the situation, right? There's findings now that in some instances that actually created more death, right? When the kids were in the classroom and the police were calling out to them, well, then the children spoke up that were playing dead to try to avoid being murdered. They spoke up, and then that's when the killer actually got them too. So it was like you have extreme instances where, yeah, unfortunately, they've created more harm, especially in our school settings.
Yeah. Okay. So the goal of the LA, Police Free LAUSD is actually complete removal of all cops from all LAUSD campuses.
Yeah. So dismantling the school to prison pipeline also means building up a whole alternative system a whole alternative department of community-based safety. So this is not to just leave some vacuum or void, but to say we can create safe schools through community, through more people, again, that's trained up in different skill sets that are anchored and rooted in the community, that have a deeper or nuanced understanding of some of the challenges that our young people are going through, some of the challenges that our families are going through. So it's amazing work that community intervention groups, you got folks like the Community-Based Safety Collective. You got folks like Brothers Against Banging Youth, which come in and they have an intimate knowledge of the community. They have connections in the community. If they know, an incident happened in a neighborhood, someone got killed, they're going to know a couple of kids are coming with some pain and trauma the next day, right? So they know then that leads to, conflict or fighting that a police officer has no sense of, right? Again, they're coming in to a fight happen, some kids are doing something bad, and we got to shut it down. Or community interventionists are coming in with a different lens, a different framework and understanding to support young people through those times of trauma and grief and pain, really.
Yeah. They're arguing in the YouTube chat, and we can address some of those things when we come forward. We're right up against news, traffic, and sports here. Man Ray says, if a kid brings a gun to school, who do you call? We'll address that. And he also says the LAUSD Police Department is a specialized department with extensive training regarding school incidents. No police during school shooting, says Surge 40. We'll look at all those things after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Pentagon is reviewing physical standards for combat roles to ensure no exceptions for female soldiers. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a 60-day review, stating all troops must meet the same high standard. More than 200 passengers are sick with norovirus on a luxury cruise ship. The Cunard Line ship left England and sailed to New York and the Caribbean before returning to the UK. The CDC reported the outbreak in late March. Some lawmakers, including Senator John Fetterman, are pushing to bring whole milk back to schools. The Obama-era requirement for skim and low-fat milk aimed to reduce kids' saturated fat intake. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. called the guideline antiquated. And the latest Forbes ranking of the world's wealthiest people includes 18 celebrities. NBA legend Michael Jordan is rounding out the top 5 with $3.5 billion, along with Oprah Winfrey with $3 billion. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The odds makers in Vegas are not showing much confidence in the UCLA women's basketball team. UCLA is already an 8.5-point underdog to UConn in their Final Four matchup Friday in Tampa. UCLA and UConn will play in the second semifinal at 6 p.m. South Carolina, the defending national champions, play Texas in the first semifinal at 4 p.m. Both games will be televised live on ESPN. It was a good night on Monday for both of LA's NBA teams. The Clippers close out their 4-game road trip with a 96-87 win at Orlando, 18 points and 20 rebounds for center Ivica Zubac. The Clippers, 8-2 in their last 10 games, are just a half game behind Golden State for 6th place in the Western Conference. The top 6 teams automatically qualified for the playoffs. The Lakers held off Houston 104-98. Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent each had 20 points off the bench. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Eaton Canyon fire devastated many black families in Altadena, taking more than just homes. It took memories, legacies, and generational wealth. The heart of a black community is now in jeopardy, but Justice Coalition, led by Gage and King LA Lawyers for the People, are here to help. If you've lost your home, we are standing by to hold insurance companies and utilities accountable for the damage caused. When the community suffers, we all suffer. Together, we can rebuild what was lost. Your recovery starts today. Call 626-429-1259 That's 626-429-1259. Or visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Justice Coalition, Gage and King, LA Lawyers for the People. We got you. Call 626-429-1259. Visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Again, 626-429-1259. This is attorney advertising. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Legal representation is provided by licensed attorneys.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Christian Flagg is here. He is with the Community Coalition, but also COCO, as it's affectionately known, is part of the Police Free LAUSD, the organization we were just talking about. I brought up some comments in the chat. You've got some actions that I want to get to, so we'll look at all of that. Somebody, I think it was Man Ray, said, what do you do if there's no cops on campus? What happens when a child brings a gun to school?
Well, I mean, at the time being, right, the system of community-based safety isn't fully established in a way that it's able to respond to any level of crisis or emergency, right? But that is the vision. That is the long term, which you have to build out. If you never do the work of moving away from the system of incarceration, you'll never get there.
I mean,
right?
I'm going to add, too, that we haven't seen cops effectively respond to kids bringing guns to campus.
No.
Kids get shot and killed. And we haven't seen that the random searches or metal detectors are effective either. So
no.
I think the question of what to do when kids bring guns to school is a tough question that we already know from the evidence of what we've seen so far, that police are not necessarily the answer to that.
And those incidences are an exception, not the rule, right? We don't have, right, a massive amount of young people just bringing guns, trying to shoot their peers, right? This is not what's happening. But we also have seen, again, when there are incidences, it's relationships, strong relationships that those students have with somebody that was able to, hey, come here, young man.
Right, like that viral video where the security guard gets the gun off the kid. And see, that's my contention. When long time ago, when I was going to school, there was always a security guard or a teacher that knew the kids really well and knows that kid over there is having a bad day. This kid over there has got something going on at home. And they're able to corral those children and get them some resources.
At the core of all of this work is relationship, right? It's relationship. Whether you're an educator, whether you're an administrator, you're the campus aide, right? At the core of it, you have to build a connection and relationship with the young people to understand and be able to respond. And they feel that love, right? We know when we say tough love has to be there, right? You can't try to enforce, you can't try to restrain, oppress different behaviors if there's no love there, because otherwise you just actually corral more resistance, more frustration.
And it always surprises me how many of us will advocate for more cops on campuses. I feel like every month there's a video of police throwing children, black children, on the ground, taking them to jail, handcuffing little kids. And how does that make us safe? It traumatizes our children. It makes them, it gives them criminal records. That's what I found when I did a deep dive to talk with my friend, is that somebody may be safer, but it's not black children and it's not Latino children.
So there was the data at the time when we kicked this off. $1 Million Hoods Project did a powerful study where they found black students made up 8% of all LAUSD students, but 25% of all police interactions, right? Almost triple the amount of interface with school police, right? And then we seen that data from 2017 to 2020, similar trends. When you talk about once you're arrested or whatever the case may be, who's disproportionately charged with crimes, it's the black students. And then we look at that data more fully. Where are these interactions happening? The top 5 of the top 5 zip codes where all of the police interactions were happening, 4 of them were in South LA.
I mean, it's true. You go to Bel Air, you go to the Palisades, they don't have cops. You don't see the cops there. It's our schools. When the children, LA Students Deserve and Coco and Black Lives Matter LA, those kids, the Youth Vanguard, when they were able to win the victory of getting their cops off campuses, it didn't mean police could never be called, or that, it meant that they weren't on the campuses interacting with the children. They weren't
patrolling and occupying our schools like it was some, war zone or something. Like you said, our young people are seeing the things that happen in the society. They're seeing some of these young people we work with, their family members are murdered in police brutality. And then they have to go to school and see a police officer, staring at them with a blank stare at lunchtime, just asserting, as they would say, making me feel like a criminal, making me feel like I've done something when I'm just standing around hanging out with my friends.
The comment that school resource officers are highly trained.
So again, when we're talking about training ends up being greater investment into police, right? Why, if it's the training that's going to support, why would we want a person with a gun to come and do some mental health intervention, right? Why would we want a person with a gun to come in and try to talk a young person through a mental health breakdown, right? Because they have a tool that eventually they see it as a necessity in those situations, right? They use handcuffs. Another piece of data that the $1 Million Hood pulled out, 1 in 4 of the police interactions were with students 12 and younger. So 25% of all the kids that they were interacting with, arresting, pulling out of class, were like babies.
Yeah.
These are our babies.
Jerry Anderson says, why would the data be different from societal data in jails? Their agenda is systemic. Molly Bell says, do those, how did she put it? Do the resources equal safety? And I think that was the case you made.
Absolutely.
Let's go to Dwight calling us from the city of Compton. Good morning, Dwight. You're on with Christian Flagg and me. What's up?
Thank you, Dominique. Good morning. Good morning, Christian. I appreciate all the help you're doing for our children. I just wanted to mention back in 1968, Jane Elliott was a white teacher whose son had dyslexia, and she found out that by addressing that, it solved a lot of his reading problems, and she wanted to try that also for black schools. But I was wondering if you could perhaps look into that as far as helping a lot of our black students who may be stressed by dyslexia and not being able to read at their grade level, was causing a lot of the problems that they're facing later, maybe dropping out or causing disruptions in the school. But I just want to thank you for all the great work you're doing to keep our kids out of that school-to-prison pipeline that is really privatized just to make money for free slave labor. Dominique, thank you for all the great information you're giving us, too. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Joy.
Yeah, we know a lot of disciplinary action is rooted in our young people's struggles with academics, right? Their struggles with social emotional development. So, like we say at Community Coalition, we're about addressing root cause issues. You're not addressing a root cause issue if after the fact you're bringing in a person with gun, handcuffs, and pepper spray to address a young people who's struggling to read, who's struggling to count. And then again, we talk about the systemic nature of it. This is after years of our students being in underinvested schools, being in schools where the teachers are these are rookie teachers often who are less qualified. We know even at schools where our students are, we have a higher rate of chronic absenteeism with the teachers, right? So they're not receiving consistent instruction from qualified educators. And shout out to all of the amazing educators out there. I myself, as a product in LAUSD, had a lot of really powerful black women in particular that empowered me and lifted me up. But we know, a high school like Manual Arts, across the last 6 years or so, they've had like 3 or 4 different new principals.
Yeah.
Right. How can you sustain a educational environment that can effectively educate our children without the consistency, without the support?
And Man Ray, who told us on yesterday that he's a Republican, said that we are an example of progressives being disingenuous because we're not mentioning the fact that statistically black kids create the vast majority of school incidents. That is a lie. Why you want to lie on our kids? And to me, it's that perception and that attitude that leads to those disproportionate numbers where you've got 8% black students, but they're 25% of school interactions. I have not seen any data that show that our children create the incidents. Many times they are being singled out. That doesn't mean they're creating an incident. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Folks have been conditioned by the history of anti-blackness, and they internalize it. The data actually shows that oftentimes educators have a predisposition against black students. So like you said, they actually single them out. There was a study I was looking at where they told educators to they were looking at watching a screen. Right. The children were actually actors. Right. And they told them just, color, draw. Right. And they were tracking the eyes and they were asking the educators to tell us what you see. Well, they were constantly staring at the black children. It was a black kid, a Latino kid, Asian kid. They were staring at the black children the most. And they were saying that, oh, he looks like he's doing something. He looks angry. He looks like he's messing with the other children. So we know this is like deeply embedded in some of the mindset, a deficit mindset that folks come in and they project onto our children. So like you said, no, the data hasn't shown us that black children are more violent, black children are fighting more. No, we've seen the data that shows that they are singled out disproportionately for disciplinary action.
I mean, when your doggone attorney general has to issue a mandate to schools to stop suspending and expelling black children at higher rates than other children, that's not the kid's fault. That is the teachers, the principals, the institution's problem. We have to tell you to stop singling out. The doggone top attorney in the land has to tell you to stop expelling and suspending our kids. And guess what? When those policies were implemented, the schools did not go down the drain. What we saw was fewer black kids getting expelled and suspended and being allowed to get the education that we, the taxpayers, invest in.
That's right. You know, there was works that we did around suspensions where they had a policy called willful defiance. Willful defiance, right, said that basically a kid could be suspended for almost anything. They could vaguely categorize, hey, take off your hat. It's like, I'm having a bad hair day. I don't want to take off my hat. You're suspended, right? Kicked out of school for a couple of days. Well, when that policy was eliminated through community advocacy and pressure, like you said, the schools didn't all of a sudden, turn into chaos and the kids are burning it down because they're not being disciplined properly. No, actually, now you have children that are not missing out on class time.
Right.
Critical instruction time. Right. Yep. So, yeah, a lot of it it's unfortunate is just a mindset and a conditioning and really a lack of imagination of what could be. Right.
Yeah, Christian Flagg is our guest. You're welcome in, 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but that's how a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Isaiah started vaping to try to deal with stress and quit because of his son. Learn how he and other Californians are rising above big tobacco at undo.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-246-1923. That's 800-246-1923. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-246-1923 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
And I'm glad to have you here. We're focusing on education today, actually a lot. It just turned out that way. Austin Butner will be on in the third hour of the show. Natasha Diamond Walker will join us in that hour as well, top of the hour. Right now we're talking with Christian Flagg. He's with Police Free LAUSD Coalition, but is with the Community Coalition as Director of Training. And before we get into I'm glad to see the chat is percolating. If you want to get in there, go to youtube.com, KBLA 1580. Before we address some of that stuff, let's talk about the actions you have coming up right now.
Yeah, so right now we're really gearing up and pushing LAUSD to, like we said, defend BSAP, expand BSAP, expand the community-based safety efforts to really make it a more, again, comprehensive approach district-wide through board action, right? If folks aren't familiar, LAUSD is its own government entity, right? It has a school board that sets the board policies. Of course, it's governed by state mandates and statutes, federal laws and that, but everything, the district actually governs itself, right? It decides what it wants to fund with its, multi-billion-dollar budget. So the board, the actions that we have is going to the public board meetings, right? These are opportunities where we go directly to the leadership of the entire school district and tell them, right? Our young people, we organize hundreds of young people, parents, educators come out and tell the board, this is what we want to see. These are the resources. These are the experiences that we're having at our schools, right? So it's not, in some central office district or a central district office that's, basically crafting out this stuff. This is community saying, hey, actually, we need more mental health professionals, right? We need support to do this restorative justice work where you have these folks, but they actually need more training or they need more resources to facilitate what they're trying to do. So we're going to the board for really, there's once a month for the next 3 months. So we're going April 8th, May 13th, and June 3rd. And June being the kind of the last and final one where the budget for the next school year is set. Really important. They have a saying, you fund, or excuse me, the saying something around the fact that you fund your values, right?
Yeah.
The things you value is what gets funded. Right. So you can say all you want about we love our children, we want to do X, Y, and Z, but if you're not putting your money where your mouth is, then you're not actually demonstrating what your values or what you say your values are.
Yeah, I think that's right. We've got Terry on the phone calling from Long Beach. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning. When I taught pre-K, I had a colleague, Jessica. She actually said to me when we were planning for Black History Month, I can't stand teaching during Black History Month because after that, the kids know they're Black.
Yeah, well, those are the attitudes, exactly the attitudes we're talking about. The same person in the chat saying that kids need to be held accountable, and I say they're disciplined at home and at school, and also says that the slave hair needs to go too.
Right.
That the unkempt slave-looking hair need to go too.
Oh, you must be talking about my beautiful life locks. They can't stand it. They can't stand it.
Wow. So it's a fashion show. It's not about educating the children. Sorry, Terry. Go ahead. Terry?
I wanted to reiterate how early it starts.
Yeah.
That they come in at pre-K. They don't want to teach above grade 1. They're afraid of the height of the Black boys. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it has to be called out. I really do. I think it has to be called out. Look, I'm a mama, and I've seen it all. From public to the so-called independents, I've seen it all, and it means that your kid has to fight twice as hard to get what other kids get, and you as a parent have to have to fight twice as hard to get just a baseline. So that's why I think it's important to organizations like yours. Can anyone show up
Absolutely
to the school board meetings and support these actions?
So anybody, we encourage folks to show up. Our young people are often, they're doing public comment, right? They're speaking directly. We're in there showing that there's a large push and support for this. There's also a petition right now you could sign on our website called safeschools.lausd.com, where there's a petition you can sign that will send an email directly to all 7 board members and the superintendent, letting them know that you support investments to protect, to expand the Black Student Achievement Plan. So investing in building up the curriculum to highlight all of the powerful things that and contributions that Black people have made to human civilization. Not just this country, not just for, the last 50 years since desegregation, but going back into ancient times, right? Setting the foundation for advanced mathematics, for science, biology, right? Investing in supports that actually have been taking our children to HBCUs. So since BSAP, hundreds and hundreds of Black students in LAUSD have got to go firsthand and see a higher education environment filled with thriving Black educators, thriving young people learning amazing things, right? And they're coming back and they're talking about how transformative this has been. Well, we need to continue expanding those type of opportunities where they're seeing this stuff firsthand and sparking, right, that curiosity and that passion to do more.
Yeah. Well, Christian Flagg, I really appreciate the conversation. You said safeschools.lausd.com.
Yeah.
Well, I'm up against news, traffic, and sports. This is just yes or no. You think it can continue to progress in the environment we're in?
Absolutely. Right now? Power is in the people. The more people to show up, the more likely we're going to be to continue pushing this thing.
Appreciate the conversation. It's time for Wealth Building Wednesday. Then we're taking your phone calls. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Pentagon is reviewing physical standards for combat roles to ensure no exceptions for female soldiers. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a 60-day review, stating all troops must meet the same high standard. More than 200 passengers are sick with norovirus